Class of 2022. Our first and hopefully only class to start in the middle of a pandemic. And certainly our first class to graduate from our Columbia University's Manhattanville campus, ARF campus. Class of 2022, you're groundbreakers and you changed us along the way. And it is great to be welcoming family, friends, you graduates on this day. My name is Kostis Maglaras and I'm the Dean of the school. And I'm grateful to be here to celebrate with this incredible class on this day. And despite, even though this day is one that we're living through, once again, tragic effects and impact of what happened last night. To the graduates, I have two brief messages. First, something that we say every year, congratulations, not just for the education, but for the experience, for everything that you did between the cash flow statements, the marketing funnels. Many of you established clubs, you formed companies, you joined movements. Some of you found partners, both in business and in life. And you took these 2 years and squeezed the full measure of fulfillment out of this experience. More on that in a moment. I also want to share a special message just for this class and for this class alone, and that is simply thank you. I remember what the world looked and what New York City looked back in the spring of 2020, when you guys were deciding whether to come to school, and how New York looked in August, when you were arriving at school, and how it looked again in January of 2021, when the rest of you were arriving at school. The pandemic had upended our lives, and many of our peers, both inside the university and at other institutions, were struggling to cope. It was not even easy for you to come here. People concocted the most imaginative routes to actually make it in the city of New York by avoiding all sorts of travel restrictions. My colleagues elsewhere in the university, when they heard that you were coming in the summer, they couldn't believe that you were actually making it to the city. At the business school, we're not surprised at all, by the way, because we knew you had to do what you had to do. You chose to adapt to surroundings that were new to you and to an educational environment and an educational process that was new to everyone, including our faculty. You did more than adapt to that environment, actually. You helped create it, and you made it work. From masking to distancing to those constantly disinfected classrooms, you helped our school navigate this singular moment in our history. And you did it with grit, you did it with humor, and you did it with determination. You also broke the rules, but I'm not going to go there today. You spoke out when something wasn't working, and you found ways to stay close at the age of social distancing and at the moment of maximum burnout. You threw yourselves into school organizations, like the Tamer Center and the Small Business Consulting Program, and made yourselves indispensable everywhere you went. After one summer internship, a CEO of a local marketing firm literally wouldn't let one of you leave. You had, in a short span of 2 months, streamlined their financial reporting and jump-started their AR/VR program. Others branched out on their own, introducing new ideas, new companies, new products. Omao has sold 2 million biodegradable straws. Sortile is helping recyclers use old fabrics. Tough Leaf is connecting minority and female-owned contractors with great projects and has done more than 2 million in transactions in the process. And one of you recognized the need for togetherness after months of isolation and started Leti, a real estate app that uses social network and social media information to help people search and find apartments to rent that are close to friends and family. And as the risk of COVID subsided, and as we made our move to Manhattanville, this class helped find the normal rhythms of business school life again. You brought back the spring gala, the follies, conferences, affinity weeks, and you have held more than 200 in-person events since February alone in our new campus. Simply put, you helped transform Columbia Business School by grappling with one of our toughest periods, and then you helped us relaunch the school in an incredible new future in our new campus. You inspired us to sharpen our focus on the future and on the issues that are driving change, from climate to digital transformation, from entrepreneurship to finance, and put the question of how business impacts our world at the center of the conversation. Our 106-year-old institution will forever be indebted to the class of 2022. Give yourselves a round of applause. And of course, you didn't do that alone. So please, graduates, join me in showing appreciations to your family and friends. And while I'm thanking all of you, I also want to thank the administration and the faculty who truly came together and delivered more in-person education and more in-person experiences than all of our peers and all of the schools in the university, pretty much by an order of magnitude. Our CBS community showed over the past 3 years how agile, innovative, and strategic it is, how forward-thinking it is in the presence of volatility, and how it can drive change and be impactful in the middle of all of this. Like the work of Carrie Chan in optimizing healthcare provision when our health system is critically stressed, or the work of Ken Daniel, who brought out our best understanding of climate event, extreme event risk, and what's the implication of that to carbon pricing, or how we launched a think tank, and in our very first year, we're grappling with issues on the interface between business and society, or how Dan Russo's work is exploring how AI, specifically reinforcement learning, drives engagement, in his case at Spotify. And finally, applause should also go to your faculty. The faculty that supported you, that inspired you, that pushed you, including Professor Todd Jick, who you selected to receive. Who you selected to receive the Robert Lear Award, and Angela Lee, who you selected to win the Singvi Prize for Scholarship in Classroom. Both of them are here today. Todd, by the way, seems to be winning all of the teaching awards this year, including one from the Dean's office, but I understand he also got one from the Follies that he get to celebrate annually. How about that for impact? So what comes up next? Simply put, you're done. You graduate. Today marks an incredible achievement for each of you and for those who have supported you. But this ceremony, this moment, is not the end, it's not the finish line. Commencement, after all, means beginning. And this point marks a new beginning for the next chapter in your lives. When you walked onto campus, many of you were strangers. Today, I hope you leave as friends. You started as students not knowing what the future might hold. Today, you leave as graduates ready to shape the world around you and joining an incredibly strong group of 50,000 alums around the world. The reputation and strength of Columbia Business School has equipped you with the knowledge and access you will need to make a lasting impact on business and beyond. And as an alum, it will provide you with the connections, the support to foster creativity, to invite entrepreneurial thinking, and open doors to opportunity. These tools will give you the confidence and ability to succeed on your own terms, and you couldn't be better prepared for whatever lies ahead. But with all of these rewards and with all of these opportunities come responsibility. We hope and we expect that you will always recall that we are and have always been in the business of value and values. And even as we're proud to have been the birthplace of value investing, and we strive to add value in all disciplines, we deeply recognize that personal values, personal leadership, ethics, and social responsibility matter, both in the workplace, but also in the communities that we build and we influence. Each of you will embark on your own path, your own unique journey, but regardless of where you go and what you're going to do next, I'm certain that you will lead change. You will tackle new challenges and find new solutions. You will introduce new ideas. You will launch new businesses. Some of you, like other alums in the past, you may invent new industries altogether. You will innovate. You will disrupt. You will challenge the status quo. You will change business. You will save society. And I'm certain you will change the world. And I know this because you have actually changed us for the better during your time here. You were a class of first, not just because of the situation when you came in or where you're graduating by, but because you used these circumstances to lead change and leave CBS a better place. So continue to bring that spirit to Columbia Business School. And when you come back and join us again in Manhattanville, soon and often, where I hope you will always feel like home, given the fact that you actually opened that place with us just a few months ago. Keep sharing your stories. Keep sharing your journeys. Keep sharing your wisdom with the next generation of leaders, like our next speaker is about to do. Kristen Peck is a Columbia Business School alum, class of 1999, and a longtime friend of the school. Kristen knows a little something about growing a business in an era of change. She stepped up to become CEO of Zoetis, the world leader in animal health, just a few months before the pandemic shook the world. A distinction, a real distinction, if we can call it that she and I have in common. Her leadership has been fueling Zoetis' record growth and earned her a spot in Fortune's Business People of the Year back in 2020. Please welcome Kristen Peck.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Dean, for such a warm welcome and introduction. This is a big day for all of you, and I am honored to be part of this incredible milestone in your lives. I'm also thrilled to join you for the first in-person commencement in 2 years. Yes. I know your family members and friends gathered here today are celebrating with you. They are incredibly proud of you. And I suspect they will have lots of great advice for you. So be ready to soak it all in. Believe it or not, I remember when I graduated from Columbia Business School in 1999, what many of you may call the turn of the century. My commencement here at Morningside Heights felt so completely different. For starters, I know this is hard for you to believe, there was no iPhone. Yep. And Facebook was not even a thought in the back of the mind of Zuckerberg. So I was not Instagramming with friends or family to share this incredibly special day, and they were not commenting back with memes and words of wisdom. There is a lot of advice I wish I'd gotten that day, including to buy a lot of stock in a company called Apple, but the most important advice I got that day came from my mom. And to be honest, I largely wrote it off for many years. Sitting across the table from dinner for her that night, she stressed how proud she was of me, how hard I worked, for how smart and creative I was, praises only a mother would sing. But then she said, if I wanted to find true success in business and in life, I needed to spend more time listening with my heart and not always my head. And at the time, I had no idea what the world would bring over the last 20 so years, or how important my mom's advice would become. So, as I thought about this commencement address, I asked myself, how can I best serve these accomplished individuals who have so much ahead of them, who are stepping into a world that is radically different from when I began my career? What is the lasting advice that could sustain them? What's fascinating to me is that most of you went through your MBA journey at the height of the pandemic. To thrive in that environment, you had to pivot from classroom to online, find new ways to connect with each other, and new ways to keep your life moving in the right direction. And you've seen your fair share of uncertainty, perhaps more so than any other class in recent history. Between an ambiguous workplace, looming potential for COVID variants, heated political instability, stock market volatility, and raging war, to name just a few. And yet, here you are. You've achieved something remarkable, admirable, and something you should feel incredibly proud of as you embark on the next chapter of your life's journey. So as you step through the new door, I'd like to offer some perspectives on our changing world. First, you're entering a new and uncharted world of work that you have the opportunity to define. What will anchor you in this new world, and how will you navigate? Most of us have heard about the war for talent as leaders grapple with an increasingly competitive landscape for recruiting and retaining talented colleagues. No doubt, each one of you was a prized recruit for the companies and organizations that you're joining. And a recent article by Louis Senti, a lecturer at the Columbia School of Professional Services, declared that the war for talent is over and talent has won. But the war for talent strategy is here. Understanding, recruiting, and keeping our talent is about intentionally creating workplaces where programs and practices address the unique needs of its people. For me, it all begins with purpose. Your personal purpose, your company's purpose, and not just where they intersect, but how they build upon each other. I'm so grateful to work at Zoetis, the world's leading animal health company. As someone who was raised with a menagerie of animals, from dogs to cats to horses to birds, animals have always been at the center of my family and a critical part of my health and my happiness. But being part of a global organization where I get to nurture the world and humankind by advancing care for animals brings me tremendous joy each day. But importantly, I was also a graduate with tens of thousands of dollars of debt from business school, a mother who struggled with 5 miscarriages and infertility, and the daughter of 2 ailing parents who I cared for until they passed away. So today, as a CEO of a global Fortune 500 company, I'm constantly aspiring to create a workplace that works for all, providing benefits that pay off student loan debt, support mental wellness, fertility, and paid time off for parental leave, regardless of gender, and building communities of interest through colleague resource groups, whether that be for neurodiverse individuals and families, or colleagues who are Black, Latinx, LGBTQ+, or allies of all of them. One of our 5 core beliefs at Zoetis is that our colleagues make the difference. Living our corporate purpose and my personal purpose means I need to be sure our culture, our policies, and our benefits demonstrate that every day. Another lesson many companies such as Zoetis learned during the pandemic was that productivity actually increased when people had the freedom to define their schedules and start their day after they dropped their kids off from school, or to step out to a personal appointment, as they did. My company, like many others, is paying greater attention to what better work-life balance looks like. It's the flexibility to block out time to go for a run, to be at a child's sporting event, and to decide how they can be successful. Tomorrow's workplace will be less about everyday deadlines, although we all know they'll always exist, but more about human connections and purposeful presence, and being part of something that every individual can be sure they can be at their best and most authentic selves, and be part of something bigger than themselves. My friend and a fellow CBS alum, Hubert Joly, summed it up best. He said, "Who you are matters every bit as much as what you know and what you do. So be clear on who you are, what your purpose is. Be part of organizations that are not just aligned with that purpose, but who are invested in helping you achieve it. And then do the same for your team members. Learn what their purpose is and how you can support them. That is the best way to followership and to create the workplace of the future." So as you think about your journey into this new world of work, ask yourself, have you thought about your purpose? And have you thought about those qualities that are uniquely you, and importantly, that clearly connect with your career assets and expertise? And that brings me to my second point, which is the transformation of leadership itself. As I look across this great quad, I suspect that I'm looking at the future leaders who will disrupt and revolutionize companies and industries. And what employees want, need, and expect from leaders today is vastly different than what it was. For many years, the CEO was regarded as infallible, a charismatic superhero laser-focused on the bottom line and steering the company's profitability. You'd rarely hear whether or not there were any failures, whether or not that CEO had any life outside the C-suite, if they were juggling responsibilities like taking their kids to the doctor or caring for an elderly parent. I believe that character of a CEO has faded dramatically in favor of a leader who is more human and authentic. One of the most important lessons we took from COVID is that empathy is in and infallibility is out. Today's leadership is about being real and vulnerable, qualities that put you in the best position to inspire and empower your team and truly connect with them. My own story is proof of that. I became CEO of Zoetis during the pandemic, or actually a few months before, to be honest, and I was working virtually for the first 6 to 9 months. It didn't feel very CEO-like. Instead of traveling the world, meeting customers and colleagues, signing agreements, and sharing my perspective at global industry events, I was straddling my responsibilities with housekeeping and homeschooling 2 children, all under the same roof. On top of that, I was trying to help my child diagnose and ultimately manage a debilitating chronic medical condition. During this period, what became crystal clear to me was that being a business leader was not so separate from being a mom, a wife, or a friend. They were intertwined and interdependent, and being my best in my role meant embracing my full self. I accepted that it was okay to be vulnerable, which in turn allowed me to connect more authentically with others. Once I embraced bringing my full self to work at the height of the pandemic, I was able to deliver with more impact and make a difference in our colleagues' lives to help them grow. The truth is, helping people be at their best is actually my favorite part of being CEO. So openly sharing with my colleagues my struggles to create structure and balance between my job and my family during the worst of the pandemic made it okay for others to admit they were struggling too. I recall one response from a colleague named Heidi, who said she appreciated my focus as CEO on issues like family balance and structure. She went on to share that she had a daughter with learning differences, which made her challenges even more daunting than my own. But what mattered most was knowing that we were all in this together and we were all doing our best. She concluded by thanking me for my LinkedIn post on the topic. She said it was just what she had needed that day. Never underestimate the power of a personal story to create a connection with others. People you may not know today, but who you come to count on someday in the future. Understandably, you may be asking, what does all this have to do with business? And the answer is everything. As a new generation of leaders embrace a broader stakeholder view, they are putting colleagues, customers, and communities on more equal footing with shareholders. That view has only accelerated with the pandemic, with greater social activism and an increased focus on ESG, all of which require empathy from leaders to understand how all stakeholders are impacted. While empathy is key to winning hearts and minds, if you want colleagues in your organizations to reach for the moon and disrupt your industries, you have to start by celebrating failures. Yep, celebrating failures. Disruption means taking risks, because we can actually learn a lot more from our failures than our successes. We need to celebrate what we believed, what we got wrong, and what we learned more. Zoetis is in the research and development business, and along with all the innovations you know, there are lots of products that never made it to market. But it doesn't stop us from placing big bets, even if they don't always pay off, because with every failure becomes a future opportunity. So embrace them. Remember, the infallible leader is so 1990s. So how will you break in taking leadership to the next level? To be a champion for your colleagues, your customers, your communities, and the planet. And to be a leader who takes into account the needs of all stakeholders and society at large. Someone who's not simply overseeing a business, but influencing others to make the greatest impact. And as you think about the imprint that you're going to make on the world, there's a third aspect that affects all of us, and one where you, the Columbia Business School class of 2022, have an opportunity to dramatically impact the outcome, and it's tied to globalization and collaboration. Consider the war in Ukraine, which has prompted governments and private companies to sever business ties with Russia and raises concerns around a growing shift towards self-sufficiency and the end of globalization. Consider, too, the outbreak of the coronavirus, which highlighted the fragility of global supply chains on which we all depend for fast production and a seamless flow of goods across the globe, vaccines included. We're feeling the effects of supply chain shortages now more than ever, everything from computer chips to construction materials to canned goods. Some point the finger at the pandemic, but other factors contributed to supply chain issues as well: cybersecurity breaches, trade disputes, climate change, natural disasters, and war. All have taken a toll, and some will argue these factors have placed global trade on life support. There are those who believe we should be radically self-sufficient, to dial back our dependence on what the world has to offer, doing everything inside your country and inside your company. But while independence is important in many respects, radical self-sufficiency is not resilience. Collaborating with others is. The world is interconnected. So as you embark on your career journey, your ability to creatively and brilliantly partner with others has the potential to change the course of your business, your community, your planet, and even history. COVID-19 is case in point. As a zoonotic disease, it can and does affect animals and people. In fact, 75% of emerging infectious disease starts in animals before it ever affects a human. So it requires a One Health approach, collaborating between animal health and human health to mitigate the risks of deadly disease outbreaks like COVID-19. At Zoetis, we had to act on this fast. So when our leader in biologics research got word of the first case affecting dogs, contracting it in Hong Kong, he quickly pulled together his team to brainstorm an ideal vaccine for animals, and one that would not affect our colleagues who'd be working on them. And once they figured out the best approach, the race was on to develop a prototype. And they did so in less than 8 months by tapping into our R&D network and facilities around the world, and by collaborating with research institutes and universities from Kansas to Germany. And while it turned out that the vaccine was actually not needed in pets or in livestock, several zoos did test positive for COVID, raising fears the virus could spread to others. That set in motion a campaign to donate more doses to help zoos and veterinarians care for other large mammals, from gorillas to grizzly bears. But we could not have pulled all this off without collaborations with regulators, zoos, and animal sanctuaries around the world, all essential to achieving the emergency authorization needed to deliver 26,000 doses of our vaccine. And as a result, we could help protect over 300 mammalian species from COVID and prevent potentially more dangerous variants. Through perseverance and partnerships, we made a lasting impact in promoting public health by advancing animal care. So as you carve out your role in business, ask yourself, how can I forge connections in my business and across my community, across the world, and create partnerships that will lead to greater perspectives and move ideas to implementation? Because even the best entrepreneurs didn't go it alone. Because innovation is more than a great idea. It's the ability to bring that idea to market, and to see it adopted. And that is a team sport. So what does the future of collaboration and partnership look like? That's up to you. And I'm confident that your Columbia Business School education has prepared you to do well, to do incredible and impactful things. Each of you has the power to break and to transform the world for the better. And today is the beginning of that journey. So as you enter the next chapter, I hope you will recognize and embrace the opportunities before you to redefine leadership in a new era of work. Most importantly, I hope you reach for a higher purpose and share that purpose with all you influence. I hope you lead with empathy and vulnerability, because listening has no script, and people want to follow leaders who share their flaws and their fears. Lean into curiosity to build connections, to collaborate and partner with others. And finally, as my mother said so wisely on my graduation day, listen more with your heart and not always with your head. Staying true to yourself is the best navigation system for the future. Please know the world is counting on you, and I could not be more thrilled to be cheering you on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kristen. All right. So now I would like to welcome our student speaker, Mo Kamali. Mo is the founder of Above All Advisory, and he came to Columbia Business School from Boston University. His work before have included time at Credit Suisse, Sage & Advisors, Earthport, and NBC Universal. Mo has been a constant presence here at the school and a force throughout his time. He has served as cluster chair, a peer advisor, co-president of the Follies, and one of the founders of the newly formed Cannabis Club. Please welcome your student speaker, Mo Kamali, also known as John Arokoff's impersonator.
Thank you, Dean McLaris. Good, very early morning, deans of Columbia Business School, administrators, professors, family, friends, and of course, my esteemed classmates of the class of 2022. My name is Mohammed Kamali, or for most of you, Mo, and I'm incredibly honored to have been chosen as your student speaker for this year's graduation. When my parents moved our family from Iran to the United States some 30 years ago, they did so with the same ambition that motivates other immigrant families to leave behind their homes and histories, the ambition that motivates parents of all backgrounds, the promise of providing their children with a good education and an opportunity to forge their own destinies. Today, as we celebrate the culmination of our Columbia University education and step out into the next stage of our destinies, I have the unique privilege of looking out not only at my own parents, but at all your loved ones. Their faces are beaming with pride. They should be. This is a group to be proud of. In the words of Kurt Vonnegut, if this isn't nice, I don't know what is. In these 2 years, we've pushed ourselves to learn new things in and outside of the classroom. We've launched startups and landed dream jobs. Perhaps more impressively, we've built a community despite the challenges of starting business school during, dare I say it, unprecedented times. Cliches aside, our time at Columbia Business School was truly unprecedented. From random COVID tests and egregious travel policies to navigating new classrooms and new class registration systems, there will never be a class to experience this place the way we have. Indeed, the only constant during our time here was change. We started business school from the comfort of our makeshift home offices, or for some of us, from the friendly confines of our beds, cameras off, of course. Yet we managed to make connections, and meaningful ones at that. In our clusters, shout out to Cluster D, we learned that even in a virtual environment, when we approach one another with curiosity and respect, we can walk away with lifelong friends and the joy of learning something new about them and maybe about ourselves. We eventually upgraded to socially distanced high-flex classes and 10-person dinner pods where we got our first taste of the free food that was promised us as part of this experience. We extended our networks beyond our clusters and began to connect with classmates, not only over shared interests, but shared values. In our second year, we found ourselves in full classrooms. We began to make in-person relationships with the faculty and administration that are so gracious with their time and attention. And we finally learned what it's like to have Follies live on stage. It was dope. But just as we were learning the hidden secrets of Eurus, we were whisked off to the new age of Manhattanville. And yes, at our new campus, we encountered some growing pains. But yeah, the elevators and outlets were not perfect. But let's not miss the forest for the trees. We were the first class to ever sit in those classrooms and completely ignore a lecture as the sun set over the Hudson. And maybe we gained some much-needed perspective that the world is not designed to our convenience. Of course, these rapid changes extended beyond the walls of our campus, from an enduring pandemic that highlighted the inequities of our society, to a cultural reckoning that demanded we come to the table with our Black and brown and Asian and LGBTQ+ brothers and sisters to acknowledge the shared dignity in us all, to a climate crisis that can no longer be ignored as an abstract threat to humanity. These last 2 years have been tumultuous, to say the least. But the world is changing as it always has, and will continue to do. The important question is, how will we respond to these changes? As we leave Columbia with ambitions to change the world, I hope we're mindful of the spaces we occupy and are prepared to change with a fast-changing world. Perhaps more importantly, I hope we have the judgment to know what not to change. Because while a tree's branches will sway with the wind, a trunk stays firm and keeps the tree grounded. Likewise, if we ground ourselves in the virtues that we hold dear, justice, integrity, equality, the pursuit of knowledge, we too will have the foundations necessary to withstand a turbulent world. As we sit here, unjust wars and indefensible conflicts rage on with ramifications that echo around the globe. Here and abroad, women feel the unwelcome creep of government overreach and the continued struggle against systems that put their destinies in the hands of unqualified men. And let's not forget the irony. And let's not forget the irony that the land of the free is home to the largest population of incarcerated individuals in the world. In the context of all this, I have a few hopes for us. I hope that we pay attention, because there's nothing more destructive to a community than apathy. In the face of these seemingly insurmountable challenges, I encourage you all to not stand by, but stand up. I hope that we practice empathy and recognize that while some things seem a world away to us, they hit very close to home to the person sitting nearby. I challenge you to see the world beyond the horizon of your experience. And finally, I hope that we can all show some grace. Grace towards one another as we navigate the challenges of life, but also grace for ourselves as we try to reason in a world that isn't always meant to be reasonable. Make sure you take care of yourselves, because only then will you be able to extend a hand and help those that come after you. And let's never underestimate the power of building a community like this one, because if this isn't nice, I don't know what is. So congratulations to the class of 2022. Share this moment with each other and with your loved ones. Be proud of what you've accomplished, but know that this is only the beginning. We got work to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo, for your very powerful and very accurate speech to your peers. I'm pleased to present two student-nominated awards, the Robert W. Lear Service Award and the Singvi Prize for Scholarship in the Classroom. These two awards reflect the values of inclusion and recognition within the Columbia Business School community. The first award is the Robert W. Lear Service Award. The Lear Award is nominated by the student body and presented to a faculty member or administrator for service to students above and beyond the call of duty. This year's recipient is Professor Todd Jick. Please join me in congratulating Professor Jick. Our next award is the Sing V Prize for Scholarship in the Classroom. The Sing V Prize is nominated by graduating students and is awarded to a full-time faculty member who exemplifies excellence in the classroom based on their dedication to teaching and ability to communicate knowledge and encourage students. This year's recipient is Professor Angela Lee. Please join me. I'm pleased to continue the awards presentation by recognizing the recipients for community service and academic awards displayed behind me. Columbia Business School is proud to recognize these recipients. There is nothing behind me, but there is a slide somewhere. It's now my pleasure to introduce your student government co-presidents to begin their remarks. First up is Owen Odigay, followed by Siddharth Bishnoi.
To the class of 2022 and everyone in attendance, good morning. My name is Owen Osage Odige, and I have the honor of serving as student body co-president alongside Sid Bishnoi. I first want to say thank you to the dean, faculty, and staff, and everyone involved in making this beautiful occasion occur in person. That is no small feat and deserves a round of applause. It's an honor to address my beautiful classmates, the class of 2022, your families, and your loved ones. And as much I'd love for this to be a two-way dialogue, you'll kindly have to bear with me, talking for a couple minutes. Think about it like Gov updates all over again. Today, I want to talk to you about something simple, and that is our ability to evolve and grow. This moment is a moment you worked very hard for, and probably worked harder through some hangovers to make it here. Yet, here you are. Over the last 2 years, it's hard to ascribe one emotion to what we collectively experienced. We experienced joy, nervousness, frustration, a lot of frustration, ambivalence, but also triumph. What's the common theme amongst all these? Well, there is no common theme. Nothing ever stayed the same, and that is probably the most profound lesson we can learn as we venture from Columbia Business School into the world. The reality is that life after business school will be different than life before business school. The question, however, is how will you grow with that? Who are you today? Who do you want to become? What story do you want to create for yourself in the world? Let's look at Columbia University, this very campus we stand on. It started 268 years ago with 8 students. It's gone on to produce hundreds of thousands of incredible students, including the first Chief Justice, the first Secretary of Treasury, and the first Black President of the United States of America. This came as a result of steadfast leadership as a university decided to set its eyes on evolving and growing into a world-class research institution with a distinguished learning environment across many scholastic fields. Subsequently, Columbia Business School started 106 years ago with 61 students. Today, the school has evolved and grown to over 1,500 current students, boasts nearly 50,000 alumni all over the world, and now stands as a shining example of a city business school with 2 beautiful buildings, some aggressive elevators, but designed to foster productive learning in data science, climate change, and our ever-rapid digital transformation. The school evolved its approach on how it shapes the future leaders of business at the very center of business. See what I did there? Yeah. As for me, I am the son of Nigerian immigrants who spent my childhood in Nigeria before moving to the United States. Yeah, Nigeria to the world. Moving here changed my world entirely as I knew it. I struggled to fit in, trying to change the way I sound and watch a lot of TV to see how kids my age talk nowadays. I'm sure some parents in here kind of relate to that. But as I got older, I began to evolve and grow by constantly pushing myself, creating ambitious goals, and continuously learning along the way. I learned to embrace myself in all of my facets, in all of my humanity, and in all of my authenticity. During this academic year, I unexpectedly lost an uncle to a battle with cancer, who was a success in the world of business. His life was a shining beacon of evolution as he rose from humble beginnings in rural Nigeria to an incredible international businessman. His unexpected passing made me come to grips with life and ask those same questions I ask you today. Who am I today? Who do I want to become? What story do I want to create for myself in the world? Earlier, I mentioned Columbia University started 268 years ago. Back then, if you were the son of African parents on this very soil, you were subjugated to forced labor and exploitation in horrific conditions we couldn't even begin to imagine today. Well, today, the son of Nigerian immigrants who struggle to fit in can find his place at one of the finest business schools in the world as a student body president, wearing and showcasing my Nigerian culture, and deliver a commencement address on this very soil. Evolution and growth. Evolution and growth. So my question to the class of 2022 and everyone here today is, who are you today? Who do you want to become? And what story do you want to create for yourself in the world? Congratulations to my beautiful classmates of the class of 2022. May you dare boldly to be the best version of yourselves today, become who you dreamed of tomorrow, and keep evolving and growing to create a story worth telling. Thank you. Thank you. And now, I'm not here to talk anymore. Please join me as I pass it along to my incredible partner in crime, who along with the rest of the student government experienced many highs and lows, my colleague and classmate, the water to the fire, the yin to the yang, co-president of student body, Siddharth Bishnoi.
Thank you, Owen, and good morning to you all. This is awkward. We all chose the same outfit. I stole that one off of Mo. In one of our first classes during orientation, we were told about the different roles that people play in teams. We can be thinkers, we can be dreamers, we can be leaders, we can be so much more. And we have all had the privilege at Columbia Business School of working, studying, sometimes traveling, sorry, Dean McGlaris, with people who look different, who think differently from us, and who are different from us in so many different ways. But we all have things in common too. Empathy for each other, a passion for achieving our goals, and of course, a deep love for corporate finance. I want to thank the members of our community who have exemplified these values by using their time at CBS to improve the student experience. So thank you to every single student who served on their cluster board, especially Cluster X, the greatest cluster, on a club board, or with Owen and I on the student leadership board. Thank you to every student who was a tutor, a peer advisor, or a CMC fellow. Thank you also to every single student who made an impact on our community even without a formal leadership position. Gary. Finally, thank you to the staff, faculty, and administration at CBS on behalf of students for all their efforts over the last 2 years. The legendary Rabindranath Tagore wrote in one of his poems, and I'm going to butcher this because it's in Bengali, so apologies. Jadi tor tak shune kyu na ashe, tobe ekla chalo re. Which means, if no one answers to your call, still you must walk alone. And as I look around this gathering today, I see my classmates, but I also see parents, siblings, partners, families, and friends. There are also others who are not present here today, but whose presence in our lives is significant nonetheless. None of us graduates would be here today if it were not for the unfaltering love, support, and encouragement we have received from our family and our friends before and during our MBA. They made sure that we never had to walk alone. So this is my message to the thinkers, dreamers, and leaders who will walk during the recognition ceremony today. We are graduates of CBS forever. We do not walk alone today, and we will not walk alone tomorrow. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you.
Thank you both for your remarks and for your leadership, partnership, and commitment. You leave CBS a better place than you found it, and we are all grateful for it. We will now begin the presentation of candidates.
Sarah Rome Coleman. Benjamin Adams. Nicolene Bach. Aditya Bansal. Anna K. Barrett. Desiderio Berdini. Sarah Bicknell. Parker Cassidy. Sunny Chen. Casey Coldburn. Jack Davis. Malika Deepak. Jenny Ding. Kira Drugas. Calvin Huashadu. Nami Escobar. Rossan Pope Fo. Megna Fagla. Rachel Fulmer. Mariana Garcia Stotzenberg. Constantine Giannakopoulos. Caroline Giroux. Jesse Goldman. Joshua Goodstein. Anna Hall. Jenny Ham. Paul Kagan. Madison Kaminsky. Polina Kulikova. Travis Leiter. Rob Losey. Makrand Mahali. Allison Manning. Dean Mizell. Leventa Marza. Candice Miller. Loe Mendiola Diaz. Neil Modi. Siddhant Munakutla. Dana Eng. Neil Parekh. Selena Pang. Dylan Quenville. Adi Ralan. Aparna Rao. Gianmarco Rea. Anurag Reddy. Alexandra Sherman. Kedar Sunil Shirole. Nick Silva. Raja Singh. Argyris Petsiotis. Nicholas Such. Christos Zeles. Tomas Wawi Cuneo. Valeria Vicente. Frank Wan. Joshua Ward. Christine Wilson. David Winslow. Margaret Wolf. April Yin. Edwin Zhang. Melody Zhang. Now presenting Cluster B.
Christopher Battipaglia.
Raimundo Achondo. Anshu Agrawal. Denise Alvarino Reategui. Michael Antwi. Lulu Arias. Daniel Atlas. Karthik Ayagari. Alexander Basili. Clay Baker. Ross Bjorkland. Melissa Blotner. Daniela Beckett. Claire Brochon. Salvador Carrillo. Ifedayo Adebola Ayoade. Peter de Blasi. Michelle Dunsingani. Jack Dolan. Hillary Edelstein. Brooke Elby. Lara Ilowski. Pablo Escobiana Palacios. Royce Fillmore. Jeffrey Grasso. Tim Hauser. Daniel Huerta Alcantara. Camille Hutt. Claire Ilmer. Michelle Jastrob. Nina Jamie. Indraja Karnik. Austin Kelly. Julia Elizabeth Keat. Ruben Kloppers. Jeffrey Laupola. Jinho Lee. John Hyung-kyu Lee. Michael Littner. Jeffrey Liu. Walter Love. Daphna Lubkin. Molly Lucas. Francesca Magri. Nao Makino. Molly Morgeri. Scott Mangiardo. Stephen Moon. Munir Malik Nanji. Danielle Eng, Athena Petridis, Lacey Pierre, Ryan Rabinowitz, Luis Javier Rodriguez Aleman Moreno, William Sarney, Cecily Shatton, Omar Smith, Nathan Son, Chae-Yun Song, Daniel Staff, Michael Thompson, Nicolas Vidal Olea, Maria Van Hakeren, Christina Wang, Peter Schwan, John Zisi, Alan Chow, Yi Han Zhang.
Now presenting Cluster C. Karsten McVeigh, Gabriela Airaldi, Carlos Alvarez Calvo, Gonzalo Avila Cortez, Tanya Bagari, Mihika Barua, Allison Berman, Catherine Borstein, Maggie Brady, Will Kaplan, Donald Carnegie, Dimitri Shigaris, Henry Chan, Eric Christopher Chapik, Dong Yul Choi, Maximiliano Costa, Martina Crane, Nancy De Silva, Amelia Ernest, Justin Einhorn, Sida Fang, Martin Garcia, Ryan Gardner, Hamilton Garner, Jennifer Godman, Victor Gruczynski, Gonzalo Guastavino, Alex Haggerty, Yasuaki Inada, Janari Jimenez, Yoon Kim, Alexander Coker, Gahe Koo, Thomas Kwan, Vincent LaRocca, Daniel Linnell, Allison McQuarrie, Sanya Mahajan, Nelson Mills, Shannon Nicole Morgan, Vikesh Vamsi, Sam Murphy, Takayuki Nakagawa, Andrew Neat, Claire Nishioka, Diego Oliveira Salcedo, Leah Oppenheimer, Shaquille Patel, Ryan Pearson, Darian Robinson, Alex Rodriguez, Brandy Mitnick, Maria Pilar Romero Checa, Lauren Rosenberg, Paul Riz, Shubham Sareen, Joan Serna Cardona, Sophia Seaman, Manraj Singh, Brandon J. Stallings, Simon Teisch, Natalie Telson, Varun Tilva, Judy Toe, Jose Luis Torres, Ifosa Uwaifo, Lisa Wang, Nikhil Warrior, Han Yue Xu, Wenbo Zhao. Now presenting Cluster D. Alicia Davis, Eric Anastas, Anna Armenter Jordi, Sofia Benares, Tomas Bena, Tushar Benyani, Elizabeth Beelin, John Blade, Christine Chang, Connie Chang, Skylar Cohen, Chen Xiao Da, JJ Franco, Pietro Gaudiano, Gabriella Jonai LeVay, Eric Michael Keat Glickman, Jennifer Golden, Juan Gomez, Shimon Gordon, Zachary Gross, James Havlicek, Daniel Luis Herrera, Vivienne Hesha, Songqing Jiang, Yasuhiro Kanimaru, Camille Capon, Don Kim, Isabella Lugo, Ian Manley, Vinayak Menon, Laura Miller, Amanda Morrison, Andrea Noe, Pedro Pinto Coelho Neto, Ryan James Pitcavage, Lawrence Plummer, Darius Rafiayan, Rishi Ratan, Thomas Rosenstein, Lauren Russell, Maria Sacerdote, Chirag Sapra, Sid Sate, Shumpei Sato, Ilgaz Salen, Nathan Shapiro, Jeffrey Shee, Franklin Shea, Aya Shimura, Caroline Skinner, Aditya Shankar,
Rebecca Tang.
Sarah Allison Taub, Sachin Tawari, Stephen Todris, Omkar Vale, Caroline Virgilio, Zoe Meng Yao Wei, Margrethe Williams, David Wolkoff, Lyra Yalisheva, Xiaozhang Ye, George Zhao, Joanna Zhou. Now presenting Cluster E. Alec Glassman, Saltadino Abadi, Sukriti Adwant, Peter Anderson, Herman Jebsen Anchor, Catherine Oren, Lucy Bien, Richard Benito, Hannah Brock, Catherine Carlone, Alex Cavender, William Choi, Eugene Chong, Zachary Davidson, Summer Delaney, Ryan Del Toro, Alexandria Dillard, Claudia Flores Quezada, Monica Garlapati, Carolina Gonzalez, William Gum, Julia Haas, Catherine Hatterline, Kyle Heck, Soya Hirano, Katie Hogan, Kevin Sue, Asika Iso, Anita Capier, Shun Kawabe, Tyler Killips, Samuel Kornblau, Noah Kraft, Jonathan Landman, Jacqueline Lee, Sean Si-hyung Lee, Taek Sung Lee, Rachel Lieberberg, Matthew Limaka, Francis Litvak, Jordan Lockwood, Rio Liu, Chris Lysak, Alicia Magnus Lewis, Laura Mahmoudian, Sada Marquez Jaramillo, Aman Mehta, Tom Moore, Anand Mukim, Nick Mulford, Alberto Noguera, Boston Paley, So-hyun Park, Sarah Payne, Gustave Henry Pucci Sisti Maison Rouge, Angela Chian, Ayrton Ramos del Castillo, Drew Rubin, Mihaela Rummel, Ashley Ryu, Nicholas Saavedra Sanchez, Carla Sinanes, Justin Schaefer, Jessica Schmookler, Sarah Gwendolyn Scott, Lillian Suji, Wei Ran Wei, Xin Yuan, Ting Zhang. Now presenting Cluster F. Sharif Segal, Jake Axelrod, Jessica Moreno, Ben Best, Gautam Bhagat, Ross Buckley, Daniel Calby, Lucas Kamara, Duncan Coulterjohn, Catherine Condon, Margaret Davidson, Ryan Doherty, Christine Emmanuel Arian, Julian Feinzag, Drew Feldman, Vera Fernandino, Connor Flood, Abby Fry,
Manuel Burbano Bermujez.
Vincent Gennaro, Shima Golbaba, Adam Heiligers, Erica Jobson, Arjun Kapoor, Yosuke Kato, Ben Kerwin, Charlotte Keys, Nicole Krabiecki, Cecilia Latipi, Michelle Levin, Harrison Liftman, Xiaolin Liu, Rebecca Lyman Manning, Gannett McKell, Molly O'Brien, Jay Kramer, Hayato Obu, Caroline Ostrover, Samir Patel, Chuk Sen Dixon Pao, Miles Payton, Daniela Perano, Timothy Peril, Harsh Pilarizzetti, Toby Porter, Evan Rosenberg, Victoria Sabater, Barak Sazak, Aaron Schwei,
Greta
Alicia
Simmons.
Coimbra, Vinay Sridharan, Yi Chen Sun, Honor Uizel, Rodrigo Viana Campos, Xiya Wen, Garrett Werner, Ethan Wolf, Su-Young Yang, Soyun Yang, Ben Zepfel, Joyce Zhang, Sherry Zhang, Nicole Ziegler. Now presenting Cluster G. Jasmine Bolton, John An, Ashley Akiyoshi, Abdulaziz Al-Sad, Alberto Amsalem, Rodrigo Javier Andino Gutierrez, Jeannie Ashton, Javier Baranechea, Hui Chai, Sunny Mun-Yi Chen, Vince Chen, Tiffany Chow, Leika Chaudhry, Chad Cohen, Anna Surwi Constantino, Josh Cowell, Sagar Dave, Kira Deeth Stellan, Alexander Dubin, James Joseph Dunn IV, Ers Iser, Rebecca Fattel, Daniela Fischel, Zachary Flicker, Bridie Gayan, Becca Gill, Marissa Giang, Armin Hadavi, Edward Havel, Bill Henry, Brandon Hoffman, Andrew Parks Hornung, Julian Jing, Samantha Klein, Catherine G. Kraske, Zachary Kruger, Koichi Kurata, Hannah Maria Leventova, Shui Yu Liu, Antonio Lohuise, James Meyer, Kyle Manley, Brandon Martin, Honor Masters, Jordan Mindlin, Kendall Mueller, Alexia Simone Palmer, Matt Rosenbaum, Lucas Ruffle, Gisela Rosny, Julia Sanz Minchat, Raul Sapunar Opazo, David Shifke, Mohammed Salhut, Michael Schwartz, Dhruv Sharma, Ryan Schoen, Mike Simpson, Andrea Sordia Zanella, Shane Thomas, Remy Tucker, Irina Tishkevich, Gantachard Wahawisan, Kathy Yao, Allison Zimmerman. Now presenting Cluster H. Alexander On, Adam Aldrich, Everett Allen, Ermak Antepliolu, Danny Aum, Lucas Barish David, Henry Bolo, Kenneth Birchfield, Athena Tsao, Scott Sesta, Nicholas DiGeronimo, Bill DeJohnson, Amy Gore, Tayo Hamanaka, Quay Reza, Winnie Hoy, Mateus Di Bourguignon, Nathaniel Brockert, Luis Blackier, Jorge Eguidazu, Martine Mora, Francisco Smart, Alexis Iliansky, Kushbu Jagwani, Christy Kang, John Kelly, Heather Knight, Leland Kute, Bill Ledley. Winnie Lau. Kevin Yang Liu. Vicky Fengshu Liu. Shannon Manley. Robin Mesereau. Maya Mirkin. Sam Mitrani. Aaron Mullins. Ravi Teja Mulpuru. Mai Nagashima. Marta Nazarevets. Mai Nechushtin. Amy Novak.
Asle Pellet.
Catherine Peterson. Noah Plowy. Alexander Peskind. Rose Reeb. Troy Rolnick. Jane Ron. Jessica Schramm. Vanessa Serenian. Alex Spears. Colin Varn. Gabriel Hidal. Ofer Toledano. Junyoung Oh. Yinka Ojigutu. Daniel Wasserman. William Tutrone. Tianyu Song. Pei Wang. Lucy Yang. Tsukasa Yonekura. Joseph Zhang. Yushang Zhou. Eugenia Zobel de Ayala.
Now presenting Cluster X. Shiv Shah. Miranda Adianti. Juan Allende. Caitlin Ali. Gada Nasser Al-Sharif. Christian Bakrak. Olaoni Pekun Bakare. Randa Bangham. Jessica Bonaventura. Juan Pablo Bravo. Martin Brosil. Rafael Canario. Bryce Kaysen. Syra Chavla. Minyoung Choi. Catalina Cuevas Ogino. Samuel Chui. Paulo Damu. Guillermo Dominguez Garcia. Galia Stryker. Luis Maria Fabiao de Campos Belchior. Rose Fang. Caroline Farhat. Zach Fisher. Robert Flock. Eduardo Frau. Augustine Gonzalez. Jack Haverty. Isabel Hayes. Elisa Hu. Rodrigo Ide. Tasuku Ito. Linoy Katsav. Gloria Kim. Siddharth Kochar. Kwanchanuk Kraikul Choshok. Rajashekar Reddy Lekala. Simon Ahmad Kadkar. Francesco Lualdi. Elhenia Lulo Abenader. Louisa Lowe. Emily McInturf MacArthur. Marina Machin Alvarez. Drew Magiera. Oriana Magro. Manuela Manrique Sanchez. Javier Marcos. Jay Mehta. Armin Mohammadi. Karen Shinmi Moik. Philippe Morani. Junichi Namaita. Jennifer Nosen. Timothy O'Brien. Mason O. Shreyas Pandit. Catherine Mahan Plumley, Emily Pronk, Gary Redmond, Peter Rhines, Esmeralda Romero Lorenzo, Jed Rooney, Will Sands, Benjamin Schwartz, Benyamino Shaka, Yorgos Shaheen, Alexandra Simone, Vivek Singh, Anahita Smeets, Francisco Suero, Shweta Sukaria, Monica Sway, Agresh Tainwala, Yuka Takahashi, Rofir Antonius Tenhafa, Jun Tien, Emilia Valladares, Rupa Vesangi, Sylvan van Mentlen, John Walsh, Ting Yi Wang, Alice Wasserman, Andrew Yuan, Michael Zommers. Now presenting Cluster Y, Sophia Dardashti, Saud Al-Mutairi, Nicole Atamian, Christelle Azar, Anav Bale, Paul Bergmans, Kate Bruce, Samuel Burnham, Eliza Kaplan, Miguel Carvalho, Niharika Chalmeida, Lon Kim Chu, Yong Jun Choi, R.M. Nelson Crosby, Julian Farah, James Ferris, Dallas Ribeiro Fontes, Katia Friedman, Evan Gans, Ana Maria Garcia Giraldo, Teho Yun, Jorge Garcia Huidobro, Dipshika Ghosh, Evan Giordano, Costanza Gomez, William Graham, Vaishnav Reddy Gunapati, Emre Guven, Dahlia Halaby, Alexandra Huff, Felipe Izquierdo, Neil Kachelia, Tetsuya Kimura, Kasha Kolpa-Zarowska, Emily Koo, Dawal Kotak, Lena Christie, Daniel Lazowski, Simin Liu, Susie Liu, Alvaro Luna, Nathaniel Lurie,
Lelia Collins.
Udaya Malik, Alpesh Mapara, Jack Mara, Maria Mazzarino, William Neds, Idunu Olainka, Alpesh Mapara,
Leela Collins.
Gazekin Oliveira, Sander Aoyan, Prithvi Kumar, Jonathan Pienberg, Lydia Randall, Saba Rojani, Pietro Rijo, Luisa Higolizo Edelmuth, Cristiano Rosales. Rola Saleh. Cristiano Rosales. Maria Gracia Santa Cruz de Osma. Akshay Savlani. Swapnil Sawant. Brendan Seaver. Debanik Sen. Pietro Rijo. Peter Shea. Shirin Shinde. Hannah Slaughter. Eleonora Smerilio. Elena Solsona Castro. Jirapat Sui Deshkosa. Pablo Torado. Daichi Suzuki. Alvaro Villarreal Garza. Hector Voliotti. Anna Wiegels. Takahiro Yamagishi. Edmund Yi. Leslie Cho. Anran Yen. Now presenting Cluster Z. Shamal Patel. Karim Abdel Samad. Renee Acuna. Sandra Altman. Yasmin Attar. Jorge Bahaya Siman. David Barakjian. Vivian Berlin. Eleonora Bertarelli. Enrique Bone. Juliet Brooks. Todd Carlson. Brandon John Cohen. Georgina Cahoon. Leah DiMartini. Marcela Chavez Deutsch. Pooja Deva. Elizabeth Donaldson. Andrew Gale. Gabriel Galvan Ferreira. Yangwan Han. Nicole Engels. Aman Hans. John David Harris. Robbie Hasbini. Kristen Henkels. Masahiko Hikida. Sebastian Ho. Saad Iskandarini. Angeline Jang. Abi Karwe. Ken Kenwoo Kim. Audrey Lam. Sydney Lampert. Namjoon Lee. Thomas Lee. Andriano Yeskiel Lete Sarumalo. Manuela Lizaralde. Nicholas Alexander Lord. Michael Moreska. Hendrik Milak. Abhishek Mehta. Josh Mehta. Zach Majorowitz. Ananya Mishra. Arisa Nitayakorn. Alexandre Novais. Courtney Patrice Owens. Xu Jing Fan. Karishma Patel. Ritika Patni. Hans Rinaldi. Romka Rosendahl. Jorge Sa. Francesco Diego Sangiota. Jason Schwartz. Freddie Sekali. Milan Shah. Rebecca Catherine Shin. Ruhe Shoj. Felipe Soto Arevalo. Vito Sutrisna. Jane Tan. Sharina Taylor. Sarah Toninelli. Tyler Weiss. Julia Zuroff.
Now presenting stage participants. Owen Odigie,
Siddharth Bishnoi.
Mo Kamali,
Wow. So now it is my truly great pleasure to congratulate the class of 2022. You are now the newest members of our alumni community, and truly we can't wait to see your journeys as you go on to truly change the world. Congratulations. So as we close the ceremony, two more things. I invite all the graduates to put on their hats with the tassels of the caps from the right side to the left to denote that you have graduated. And I also invite you to a reception that we're going to go to the Ansel Plaza area immediately following the ceremony. Congratulations.